So, big news has been coming out this week regarding multiple different things that we're just going to kind of cover all in one video. First off, I want to talk about the Israeli soldiers uh, dressing up as medical staff to kill 3 Palestinians in West Bank Hospital, which is a war crime. This is not legal at all. It goes completely against the Geneva Convention. So yeah, this is just disgusting. I'm just gonna read out the article. Israeli special forces dressed as civilians and medical staff infiltrated the In Sanin. I'm sorry. Look, I'm barely able to pronounce English sometimes. See, I'm barely able to pronounce English sometimes. So if I, mispronounce these names, it's not on purpose. Uh, Infiltrated the In Sina hospital in the occupied West Bank city of Jenin on Tuesday and killed 3 Palestinian men, according to Israeli and Palestinian officials. CCTV footage shared on social media appeared to show around a dozen commandos disguised as nurses, women in hijabs, and others, with one pushing a wheelchair and another carrying a baby car seat, as they stormed a hospital corridor carrying assault weapons. The hospital said the 3 men were sleeping at the time of the attack. One of those killed were claimed by Hamas as a member. The other were claimed by Islamic Jihad, another militant group. Hamas said all 3 were also Jenin Brigade fighters, an umbrella group of armed Palestinian factions in the West Bank city. Disguised special forces infiltrated the hospital individually and headed to the 3rd floor and assassinated the young men. Palestinian state news agency WAFA reported, citing sources from inside the hospital. This is just completely disgusting. This is definitely. Oh god, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to show that, but it literally shows where, the guy got shot. The blood's still in there. You can see the bullet hole piercing the pillow. It is not good. Let's just kind of look at the footage a little bit. It doesn't show anyone getting shot, I believe.
I know you've seen it for viewers. We just got it in. These are Israeli special forces dressed in civilian clothing.
Remarkable video, you would think.
Doctors in this hospital in the West Bank. What is happening here,
Yeah,
and what's the significance of it?
Goddamn.
Forces dressed in civilian clothing and doctors in
you can literally
this
see this guy
in the
carry
West Bank.
the
What is
wheelchair that
happening
he
here,
came
and
in
what's
on.
the significance of it?
But this is just, it's completely gross, and I highly doubt any ramification is gonna occur because of this. But also watch this news report right here.
Israeli forces disguised as medics have entered a hospital in Jenin in the West Bank and assassinated 3 Palestinian men who were all members of armed groups, including a member of Hamas, which is designated a terror organisation by the UK government. Our Middle East correspondent Lucy Williamson reports.
A building with a mission to heal the sick. Visitors with a mission to kill. Israeli forces in headscarves and medical coats, filmed on security camera at the heart of Jenin's Ibn Sina hospital. Guns in one hand, handbag, baby cot in the other. Here to assassinate a patient and his 2 companions, fighters with armed Palestinian groups.
At dawn today, a military operation was carried out inside the hospital. 3 people were martyred, including a patient who was injured a month ago and was being treated in the rehabilitation unit. They targeted his room, and all the occupants were killed.
On the 3rd floor, they killed Basil Ghazawi in his bed as he slept. His brother Mohammed shot in a chair. Both fighters in Jenin's resistance groups. A 3rd man, Mohammed Jalamni, was a key Hamas figure, wanted by Israel, who says he was armed with this gun and hiding in the hospital, and that the group had been planning an imminent terrorist attack.
Maybe he just had the gun because he, was probably afraid that something like this would happen and he wanted to have himself armed. Because, Israel has already been doing very disgusting things when it comes to trying to fight against Hamas, when really all they're doing is just performing a fucking genocide. But literally, they have been doing anything and everything. Of course they're gonna do something like this. Like, there's no low they can't hit at this point. They're just committing war crime on war crime on war crime. And they're not going to see any pushback from this. And I hope they do, but, even with the, International Court of Justice, we still haven't really got anything. Like, I think they said they had to wait a month to, really get the evidence. But, Palestinians don't have a month. They don't have a month to just, pray and survive. That's it. Biden's also really trying to go after Iran. This has all kind of been beginning to rise up behind the scenes. I mean, Iran has played some part with, what's going on with Israel and Palestine right now. But this has kind of ramped some stuff up. We have 3 U.S. troops killed in drone attack in Jordan, more than 30 injured. We have the report here. I'm just going to read it out. 3 U.S. Army soldiers were killed and more than 30 service members were injured in a drone attack overnight on a small U.S. outpost in Jordan. U.S. officials told CNN, marking the first time U.S. troops have been killed by enemy fire in the Middle East since the beginning of the Gaza war. "We shall respond," President Joe Biden said while speaking in South Carolina on Sunday. Killing of 3 Americans at Tower 22 in Jordan near the border with Syria is a significant escalation of an already precarious situation in the Middle East. Officials said the drone was fired by Iran-backed militants and appeared to come from Syria. It is still being determined which militant group specifically is responsible. U.S. Central Command confirmed in a statement Sunday that 3 service members were killed and at least 34 injured in a one-way drone attack that impacted at a base in northeast Jordan. 8 injured service members were medically evacuated to receive higher care, and ever since this happened, Biden is, he's keeping to his promise. On this one thing, he's keeping to his promise. Like, not, all the campaign promises he made, it's this. Which, look, and before anyone, jumps to the comments, I'm not saying that it's good that U.S. troops died or that we should be, completely okay with it. Obviously, there should be some action when 3 Americans are killed, but with this whole situation going on, there's much more dire there's a lot more stuff that we should be focusing on than just trying to really, go after Iran. And especially with Biden, a lot of the moves that he has been making recently are not popular. Nobody in his base, I mean, I say no one, but there's always, that one person is just like, well, if you don't vote for Biden, you're just voting for Trump. Yeah, but at the same, it's just the lesser of 2 evils. Look, I don't want Trump to get another term, but at the same time, can we at least have someone better than Biden? That's all I'm trying to say. Biden is not the best when it comes to the left. It's just that nobody is really going after and challenging him. And that's also just, and even if someone is trying to do that, they're being basically shouted down by the other people on the left. A lot of high up members of the left. But we're going to watch this Hassan video to get a little bit more when it comes to this whole Iran situation.
Iran responds to U.S. retaliation threats after soldiers killed in Jordan, which, by the way, the Brandon regime is now apparently pushing for now.
We're not going to be watching all of it. We're just going to try to get a good amount of details that's been going on.
Those soldiers will be honored in a dignified transfer ceremony today, and President Biden plans to be there. Ed O'Keefe is at the White House this morning tracking all of it for us. Ed, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tony. Iran's president says it'll respond to anyone that bullies his country, and that solemn ceremony honoring those fallen American soldiers will be held this afternoon as the families are allowing it to be seen by the public. Speaking Thursday at the National Prayer Breakfast, President Biden paid tribute to the 3 soldiers killed in the Jordan attack.
Here's the thing. I'm not just saying, again, that soldiers should be killed with no consequences, but at the same time, going after an entire country, it's just, this is not the smart thing to do right now. It's really not.
The targets in Iraq and Syria have been approved, including against Iranian personnel and facilities in those countries. And Iran's president, Ebrahim Raisi, responded today, saying Iran won't start a war, but will respond strongly to anyone who bullies it. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says this time will be different from the retaliatory strikes launched in response to other recent attacks.
They have a lot of capability. I have a lot more.
Walking with a limp into the Pentagon briefing room, it was Austin's first meeting with reporters since his hospitalization in December. He also said he apologized directly to President Biden.
So Trump is obviously going to shit on Biden for this. Do you think he goes the angle of being against retaliation or going for the angle of Joe's doing this all wrong? I would be doing this better and stronger. No, Joe's doing this all wrong. I'd be doing it better and stronger.
Yeah, he will talk about this. Very much is symbolic of what happened with like the Afghanistan withdrawal. Like, remember when Biden's term really got started, and the withdrawal in Afghanistan did not go well at all. That was the reason why that didn't go as well as it did. For the most part, there's still blame to be put on Biden, but a lot of it has to deal with Trump's negotiations with the Taliban at the time, before change in power. Before that change in power, Trump was talking with them and was settling up this deal of America just withdrawing. And when Biden came into office, he basically just had to do the best with what he could with how the negotiations were at that time. And again, he didn't handle it well at all. But at the same time, you're getting past someone else's shit and you're told to make it into gold. You're not gonna fix that shit. It's still gonna be shit. You just have to work with it. But yeah, this is what Trump has really been doing in a lot of cases. It's just I would be doing this way better. I'd be doing it way stronger than he would ever be doing. It's not a good Trump accent, but I'm not really trying. But it's just not. Again, it's of course that's just his entire rhetoric when it comes to situations like this. But yeah, this is a case where it's just you can't put any. But unlike the Afghanistan withdrawal, this is 1,000% Biden's fault. He's just going about it in the worst way possible. We do not need this, but for some reason, he just looks at whatever his voter base says, and it's just how about we do that? No. He looks at whatever his voter base tells him not to do, and it's just we'll do that. We're going to do that.
Because remember, he did that with Afghanistan. Afghanistan was a continuation of the Trump negotiation. By the way, look at this. Look at we're jerking off our B-1B Lancer bomber, capable of Mach 1.2, unlimited range with refueling.
This thing can kill so many brown people, man. Look how sick it is. God, this is so disgusting. They're showcasing this off. They're showcasing some new sports car. Capable of Mach 1.2, unlimited range with refueling, 24 cruise missiles. Yeah, it's like a Ford commercial. Look at all this cool shit it can do.
Missiles. This is literally no different than
But if a Ford F-150 could actually kill someone with a weapon, an F-150 with miniguns attached to it.
Before and
missiles.
All right, everyone stay with us. I want to bring in a key Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee, Congressman Pat Ryan of New York. He's a U.S. Army veteran who served in Iraq. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us on this very important news. We now know that the Pentagon is saying they've struck more than 85 targets in Iraq and Syria at the start of what they say will likely be a series of longer-term, perhaps larger-scale strikes on these militias that are backed by Iran. There are no strikes, as we know, inside Iran tonight, but Iran has some extremely powerful proxies outside of Iraq and Syria, namely Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen. Do you think that there's a chance that they ratchet things up as a result of what's happening right now?
I think it was a really important decision by the president to specifically strike the IRGC, Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps, and the Quds Force. These are really the puppeteers.
Yeah, they're doing this is the most precise. Guys, we are so precise. So get ready for the libtards on Reddit and all over Twitter to defend these acts, to be dude, it's the most precise.
Yeah, we gotta kill people, man.
Fafo, dude, Fafo.
Obviously, all of our problems are gonna be solved if we just kill something, right? There's no way we could negotiate things, work on making situations better for people in general. No, we just gotta murder. We gotta murder. It's what we do. It's what we do best, unfortunately.
Ryan of New York, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
I want to get straight back to our Oren Lieberman at the Pentagon. Oren, you have an update.
Yeah. America keeps going, oh, dude, we got to destroy the Ayatollah. We got to destroy the Ayatollah. And then they do everything in their mother power, basically, to make this a popular dude. These guys have one speed. The Iranian theocracy has one speed, and that is America. We're the guys who are going to do our very best to America up. They got nothing else, dude. That's what they're riding for. That's what they got. That's the only thing they have.
Yeah, because, like, what else do you have? Like, a lot of problems that are in the Middle East are mostly because of what the U.S. has done to it. With all of its interference, all of its fucking wars going on, like, there's so many reasons, like, God, it's so funny to me that that there's always, like, a fear campaign of, like, people in the Middle East, like, Arabs, shit, you know, the Arabs, they're coming to attack us, they're gonna perform another 9/11, shit like that. When it's like, dude, we have, like, destroyed their entire country. Like, we destroyed most of their country. Like, we have, like, left it in ruins. We have made their lives a living shit. First of all, of course they're going to want to. When we keep doing it, like, that's the thing. Like, just bombing them or killing them isn't going to work because you're just fueling the rage. It's a reason why something like Hamas exists. Well, not directly, you know. I mean, we definitely played a role in that because of our support for Israel. But the reason why something like Hamas exists is because of the treatment that Israel has put on Palestinians for years, for decades. And it's not just because like, you know, when you see your people get slaughtered, like almost every other year at this point, you're going to want to fight back. You're going to feel the desire to want to fight back just to survive. And in your mind, that's the only option. It's either that or just get slaughtered because there's nothing else you can do. Because these people just want to slaughter you. Like, it's insane. This is so dumb. And also, like, yeah, America keeps fucking it up for themselves too because they put in these people in power. Like, it's like, no shit. Like, America was just like, okay, you're in power now. But at the same time, these people don't like you either. Like, you're just doing it to yourself.
Iraqi Syrian MGs were in favor of us when we were cleansing ISIS. Yeah, you know what's funny about that? You said that's reductive. Except you know who else was cleansing ISIS? The Iranian Revolutionary Guard and the subsequent proxy militias that they created. So what do you mean? Yeah, exactly. The notion that, like, we welcome them as heroes in our country is a silly one. Because, no, they did not welcome Americans as liberators.
13% of Iranians had a favorable view of the United States. Yeah, most of them did not like us. Like, no shit. Like, no shit like this continues to happen because they don't like us. They hate they hate how involved we are with their country and with their lives. The fact that we basically can control when they live or die just like that. Like, when we keep bombing them, of course they're not going to have a favorable position on us. Of course they're not going to like us. Of course they're going to do something like have a drone strike that kills 3 people. Not saying it's a good thing. Murder is bad. I know that might be a very controversial topic when it comes to, you know, social media today. Well, just in general. But murder is not good. It's not a good thing. We shouldn't do it. Neither side should do it. But sometimes it's going to happen when you continue to kick people down further and further into the ground to their only point until, like, to them, the only point you could ever do is just, like, fight back and just hope you win and hope you don't die as easily.
See America as the responsible party for ISIS to exist to begin with.
Of targeting that could come in the next few days, the next few weeks, this multi-stage operation that they've been talking about for several days now. Would you expect that to broaden out beyond this area that we've been talking about, this border between Iraq and Syria, to elsewhere in the Middle East?
I think it's possible that it could expand a little bit beyond where we are. So we talked a little bit earlier about the Euphrates River Valley being kind of the center of this operation, at least that appears to be the case at the moment. What I was thinking about as we were putting the maps up on, in the graphics on the screen here.
Yeah, that's not true. The U.S. was not welcomed.
The other
Iraqi
thing that
and
we
Syrians
could potentially do
Iraq is a serious 10,000% supported regional force, not the U.S. I'm a fucking Iraqi. I know. Of course, he didn't welcome the American forces. The American forces did the exact same that the Israeli occupying force is doing to that population. Here's the sad reality. The veterans in this chat will unironically defend that and will tell you that that is what I'm saying is true. The veterans that you know, ask them. Maybe some of them will be honest. Maybe others will lie to you. But the reality is we were the Israeli occupying force of Iraq and Afghanistan. It's hard to conceptualize this as an American citizen. So like I have no analog. I have no way of like helping you conceptualize this level of like violence and fear. Because like if I tell you like what if the Chinese invaded America and had like a tremendously superior military, like infinitely more superior, just eviscerated our air defense. They have air superiority. We have no way to retaliate against that. And then there's like a group of people that they had propped up that turned around. Like the only analogy you can use is aliens. Exactly. That's how much of an imbalance.
Yeah, like we have been like what adversary have we really felt from a foreign country to the point that we would hate them that much? Like, okay, Pearl Harbor. It's not like Japan came in, created their own group, destroyed our country, created their own group to run the United States. And then that was like a super military. Like we have no analogy. Again, the chatter is right. The only analogy you can use is aliens because like for Americans, this is just a non-problem. We don't have to deal with this. We're one of the strongest nations in the world. No one challenges us like this. It says a lot when like most of the most horrific attacks on America are on this one place, one day, one specific moment. And then you look at what we have done to other countries over almost some people's entire lifetimes. Like there's no like perfect analogy. There's no perfect comparison because again, a lot of the damage, like the most horrific stuff done to us as a country, that's child's play to a lot of countries that we do that too. Like it's like, yeah, we had a 9/11. We have done several 9/11s. Us as a country have done several 9/11s on plenty of countries. It's hard to, we can't really sympathize with it. Like sometimes it's just gonna be hard to like sympathize with people like that because you have never lived in those kind of environment. You never lived in that like space of constantly being attacked. Or maybe you have because you have a different skin color. But even then, it's a lot different. Like not to say that or maybe you have in this country because you live in a low economical area and you have a different skin color. So, at least you don't have to worry about drone attacks. But again, it's not great. I think this is where we're going to leave it off, at least with like this right here, because I do want to talk about what's been going on with Texas.
We're in Texas. Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Let's talk about it. What's he up to? What's he gonna do?
I'm just gonna read this report right here. The call for more volunteers is part of a showdown between the state and the Biden administration over the issue of the border. The Biden administration has argued the wire installed as part of Operation Lone Star restricts Border Patrol agents from accessing part of the border. Abbott, meanwhile, has slammed Biden's reckless open border policies and tweeted about the Supreme Court's decision that the wire is an effective deterrent against the illegal border crossings. In apparent defiance of the court's decision, he said, we continue to deploy this wire to repel illegal immigration. So yeah, even though the Supreme Court said he's not allowed to do this, and he's still like, no, it's gonna do this. Like, no, we're still gonna do this.
I do think that it's like kind of odd that people aren't really talking about this as much as seems. I find
I
it
have
really
not seen
funny
this.
that
Honestly, like it's probably because of everything going on with Iran and Israel Palestine. I have not seen a lot of this. This kind of flew under my nose. I wasn't entirely sure if I was gonna cover this, but I was just like, I feel like we have to. Like this is just like crazy. The amount of support that Abbott is kind of getting from this from other governors is kind of sad. A lot of people are speculating like, oh, there's next civil. I don't think it's going to come to a next civil war, honestly. But at the same time, I think this is Abbott just kind of trying to push his limits And for some reason, Biden, despite the fact that he is more than willing to attack Iran, is not pushing back. Not really. Just kind of not doing anything. And this is just gross.
All of these dudes who love masturbating to the thought of a civil war, you know, like the likes of Tim Pool and stuff, claiming that the left is always
people like
trying
Tim
to do a
Pool,
civil
you know,
war,
random,
and you just straight up have the
right-wingers on
right-wing
TikTok.
governor of Texas unironically trying to do a civil war. Like, this is the most real momentum towards that sort of thing ever. The notion that they just, God, I hate that Republicans just...
I think this has grown from now, but governors from 15 states have now announced support for Texas in its border dispute with the federal government, with some sending national guard units. I think that might have increased by 10, but I might be wrong. But yeah, from the looks of it, it's Montana, North and South Dakota, Nebraska, Idaho, Utah, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, West Virginia, I think, and Virginia too.
Do whatever they want. And now 15 governors have announced that they support Texas in this border dispute with the federal government, with some sending National Guard units.
Maryland?
It's just, what is happening in this country? We've lost our minds. It's so funny that Republicans can just like play fast and loose with straight up terrorism, cessationism, and directly trying to do a civil war again. Like openly try to goad Biden into a civil war. The fact that they are capable of doing this is wild to me. And the sad reality is there's nothing. Like, what's Brandon going to do? What's Brandon going to do? And this is the saddest part about it, I guess, or the most tragic comedy of it all, is that we are trying to do a civil war to Electric Boogaloo over states' rights to drown children in a river with razor wire. We've moved beyond like states' rights to own slaves and into states' rights to do baby.
Yeah, mind you, this is the pro-life side. This is all pro-life. Think about this next time you say like, oh, I'm pro-life, and you support people like Greg Abbott. You're voting to drown children in water. But it's alright because it's not your children, right?
Murder at the river. It's like, sorry.
Oh, wait, no. It's still children that you... whatever. But hey, you know what? At least they're consistent. Because despite the fact that they are pro-life, which isn't consistent with their views overall, at the same time, they don't care what happens to that kid after it comes out. They don't care to, give it free lunch at school. They don't care to give it, easily accessible food, despite their, economical environment. They don't care. That baby, they are pro-life until that baby comes out. So, they're consistent. They want, they're still in favor of children dying, so they're consistent.
Sorry, it's my river. I can kill babies on it with concertina wire if I want to, with booby traps. Great stuff. Where is the federal government? Why is the Brandon regime not sending the National Guard? Why has he not overtaken the Texas National Guard? Why is he not sending the military? Why is he not immediately arresting the illegal cessationist Governor Greg Abbott?
Probably because they're, maybe because they're not Islam? I don't know. That's the thing, like, he's going so hard with this whole, like, Israel-Palestine and, Iran deal, but, like, dude, fucking put your finger down on this. What the fuck is wrong with you? Show some goddamn spine when it comes to a situation like this. Goddamn, they're making a fool out of you.
Steal his ass to a federal prison.
They're making a fool of you already more than you are.
Oh my God.
He's already a fool.
Now, 25 Republican governors
increased by 5. Increased by 10. It's now 25 governors.
Federal government. Vermont's government.
Oh God, my fucking governor is supporting
this. Exception.
I'm not
That's
surprised.
awesome.
He's a piece of shit.
We are the worst country on the planet. We're so stupid. America is the dumbest nation on the planet. You will never convince me that this is not. This is a smart, sane, sound country. Oh. Isn't this entirely performative from the Republicans? Yes, it is entirely performative from the Republicans. But the issue is...
It's just culture war shit. They don't actually... I think they do give a shit because they just don't like Mexicans. They don't like brown people. But at the same time, they're definitely doing this because they want to, like, Yeah, like he said, they want to goad Biden into actually doing something. So they can be like, new civil war, even though they would fucking fail. Like, they're not actually gonna do it. They just want to rally up their base. This is so dumb.
They shouldn't be able to test the boundaries of the federal government like this and basically win the trial balloon. Do you understand? It's like you can't capitulate. You can't cave to the Republicans on this. You're basically creating this precedent that, you know, yeah, Republican states can basically do whatever they want. States' rights, but for Republicans only. 8+ million illegal immigrants have already crossed, and it's only...
Yeah, he goes into like a full detail with this. I'll continue to play it. This is asinine. 8+ million illegal immigrants have already crossed. It's been in 3 years.
Been 3 years. So
That's
what do you
so
suggest?
dumb.
First of all, that number sounds insane. I don't know where you found that from. 8 million illegal immigrants have crossed the border. No, that number is wrong. You are so stupid for thinking 8 million people actually physically cross the border illegally. The current number of undocumented migrants on U.S. soil is around 13 million total, give or take. 2, the not overwhelming majority, but the majority of border crossers, or the majority of undocumented migrants that come into this country, are not actually crossing the border physically. They're visa overstayers. It's people that you see at college alongside yourself. It's not people physically crossing the border. So you're wrong. He's actually talking about this and he's a Nikki Stan, leave that chatter alone. Have 8 million migrants come to the U.S. under Biden. The 8 million have come in illegally. We have to send them back because you have to look at the fact that every time we allow them, they're incentivizing more to come. During January 8, Fox
From
News
Nikki
Town Hall...
Haley, that's what that quote came from too. Nikki Haley, who apparently is trying to get whitewashed by SNL, which is SNL continuing to do the dumbest fucking things ever when it comes to right-wing politicians.
Repeated the 8 million figure. Another presidential candidate, Ron DeSantis, cited that number too. Separately, the DHS estimates that about 391,000 people have evaded border authorities in 1 year, which includes about 4 months of the Trump administration. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement removed 142,000 people in the fiscal year of 2023. These removals happened after an official court order and can include people who have been living in the U.S. for years before Biden's administration. The total number of ICE removals under Biden is so far about 245,000. The Biden administration recorded about 2.5 million Title 42 expulsions through May 2023. There have been more than 3.6 million removals, returns, and expulsions from 2021, Biden's first month in office, to September 2023. So the number is not even 8 million, and you're so stupid for thinking that this means they're border crossers. It's actually 3.6 million removals, many of which under Title 42, which means that they are legally entitled to be able to cross over the border and ask for asylum. And this is an illegal and unjustifiable expulsion, a COVID-era expulsion opportunity that the Trump administration utilized, given to them by the CDC, that the Biden camp also continued utilizing. And even then, none of this means 8 million people crossed the physical border in the Brandon regime. You are wrong.
But yeah, I think this is where we're going to leave it. Like, a lot of stuff has happened over this last few week. I just kind of wanted to cover it all in one go. It's just a lot. I do plan on talking about some more stuff I'm covering, but it's not exactly as serious as the stuff here. It's the social media Senate hearing that also happened. Ben Shapiro and Tom McDonald came out with a new song, but like, I'm not gonna put that in the same video as, you know, another war crime from Israel, the U.S. looking to attack Iran, and Greg Abbott just going nutty on the Texas border. Like, I will be covering that stuff later in the week, but at the same time, I feel like